Om Sam Saraswati Namaha. Namaste. Namaste, everybody. On page 58, we're going to begin with verse 54. Chaya Devi Chidranakam Chanindi Yavisarpini Chanduanastup Pratishtanta Chidro Pradabhedini Cheda Chatreshwari China Churika Chedana Priya Janani Janmarakita Jatabeda Chakanmayi Janapi Jatila Jetri Charamarana Barjita Jambu Dvipa Vatijwala Jayanti Jalashalini Jitendriya Jitakroda Jitamitra Jagatriya Jatarupa Mai Janwa Janaki Jagati Jara Janitri Janutanaya Jagatraka Taishini Jwalamukhi Japavati Jaragni Jitavishtapa Jita Kranta Mayijwala Jagrati Jora Devata Jalanti Jalada Jeshta Jagosha Spota Dignity Jambini Jambanadriba Jalan Manikya Kundala Jingjika Jananigosha Jajamaruta Bhedini Chalari Vadya Kusala Nyarupa Nyabu Jaspita Tankavana Samayukta Tankini Tankabedini Tankigana Kritagosha Tankaniya Manahorasa Takarakarini Devi Katashabdani Nadini Damari Dakini Dimba Dundu Mareka Nirjita Damari Tantra Margasta Damad Damaru Nadini Dindira Pasaka Dimba Lasakira Parayanam Tundika Vigni Sasadanani Dhaka Hasta Dili Praja Nityajana Nirupama Nirguna Navadanadi Triguna Tripada Tantri Tulasi Taruna Turu Trivikrama Padagranta Turiya Padagamini Taruna Dikya Sankasha Tamasi Tuhinina Pradatura Trikalagana Sampana Tribali Chatilotam Chama Trishaktis Tripura Tunga Tiragada Vanatata Titigila Gila Tipram Trisrota Tamasadini Tantamatra Visheshaka Tanumadya Trivishtapa Trisandya Tristani Tosha Sansta Talapratapini Tatamkini Tusharaba Tuhina Chala Basini Tantu Jala Samayuta Tarahara Balipriya Tilahoma Priya Tirta Tamaluku Sumakrite Taraka Triyuta Tandi Trishanku Paripadrita Tulodari Tulabusha Tankapriya Hadindi Trijata Titiri Trishna Trivida Karunakriti Tapta Kanchana Sankasha Tapta Kanchana Bhushana Triyambaka Tripargacham Trikalagana Dagini Parvana Triptida Tripta Tamas Trishasta Trigunakara Tribangota Nu Ballari Tatkari Taravatanda Dogini Dina Patsala Dina Vantakari Durga Sura Niparini Divariti Divaratri Draupadi Dundu Bismana Devayani Dravasa Daridro Dedini Diva Damodara Priyandipta Digbasa Divimokini Dandakara Nilaya Dandini Deva Pujita Deva Badya Divishabhya Deshani Dhanapakriti Dinanatastuta Diksham Devata Disrupini Datri Dhanuradinur Dharini Dharmacharini Let's pause for a while and we'll begin to translate, and we'll begin with name number 301 on page 118. She who is expressed in meter, Chanda Parichandaya. She's expressed in meter because all her mantras, they have some rhythm. And so she's expressed in rhythm. And she's every mantra, every syllable has a rhythm, so she's expressed in meter. She was the goddess of reflection. And she's also the goddess of recollection. Because there are different kinds of reflection. And she's also the goddess of who's in the shade. She's also the goddess who offers protection. And she's still Chaya Devi. Because she's Chaya as a reflection. She's Chaya as a remembrance. She's Chaya as the shade. She's Chaya who offers the protection, or she gives you shade. She shields us from the elements. She who cuts with her nails, and remember Varahi, she had very long nails and she could cut lots of things. She who offers shelter to those who have controlled their senses. But we just decided that no one can control their senses, so she doesn't offer a lot of shelter in that regard. She who has established the Anushtut meter, and that's the meter that we're singing in, and that's the meter of 32 syllables to the verse. And what we're doing is the rule of eights. If we have a sloka, 2 lines of 32 syllables, that means 16 syllables are in the first line and 16 in the second. Let's turn to page 62 and look at verse number 75. Oh, well, let's take, okay, verse number 75. That was the first one my eye caught. Danavant Kari Durga Sura Nibarhini. That's 16. So we had a pause at the first 8, and we had a pause at the second 8. Divaratri, that's 8. 24. Draupadi Dundu Biswana. 4 times 8. Please, someone tell me the answer. 32. There's Anushtup. She establishes the Anushtup meter. That's the 32 syllables to the verse. There are 16 syllables to the line. There, after every 8 syllables, there will be a pause, and your grammar will automatically break at the right place. She who silences the faulty conduct in others. I wish you'd do it in me. Why are you worried about others? Silence it in me first, please, Mom. You fix it. she who cuts duality, she who is the supreme goddess of refuge, she who cuts to pieces, she who wields a knife. And it could be a small sword. So she cuts to pieces all the duality born of ignorance with the sword of wisdom. She who loves to destroy negativity. She who is the mother. She who does not take birth. She who knows all beings born. She who is the manifestation of the perceivable universe. She who is the Ganges River. She who is difficult to understand. How can you know the infinite one? How can you understand? She who is beyond form. She who is always victorious. She who prohibits old age and death. Budget. It's prohibited. No one grows old around Mom. Eternally young. Sriman Peter Pan. We always stay young. She who is the spirit of the island of creation, Jambudweep. And remember, we always start our Sankalpa with Jambudweep, America Deshe. This is the island of creation, the island of the earth, the island in the center of my universe. Jambudweep. She who illuminates, she who is victorious, she who gives water, she who has conquered the senses, she who has conquered anger, she who befriends all enemies, she who loves the perceivable world, she who is the form of all beings born, she who resides on all tongues, she who is the mother of the universe, she who is the perceivable universe, she who is old age, she prohibits old age, but she's old herself, she who gives birth, she who is the daughter of the universe, she's the mother of the universe, the daughter of the universe, she is the universe. This lady gets around. She who gives welfare to the three worlds. She whose face is luminous. She who is always performing japa. She who destroys all illness. She who defeats all. She who manifests victory over enemies. She who illuminates. She who is awake. She who is the goddess of illness. She who is illuminated. The goddess of illness. She's the goddess in the disease. She's the goddess who gives the disease. She's the goddess who cures the disease. The goddess of illness. She who is illuminated. She who gives water. She who is oldest. Of course, she's prohibited the rest of us from growing old. That's a fine way to get to be the oldest, Ma. I protest. You prohibit the rest of us from growing old, and then you claim yourself to be the oldest. She whose tumultuous sound fills the directions. She whose teeth grind duality to dust. Remember in chapter 7 when Kali was taking all the soldiers in the army of self-conceit, and she put them in her mouth and began to chew. Only the mouth of the Divine Mother is big enough to contain all the desires of humanity. She who illuminates all, she who is illuminated, she who wears earrings of luminous gems, she whose anklets make a beautiful sound, she whose beautiful sound is heard, She whose storm winds move at fearful speed. She who plays delightful rhythms. She who is beyond form. She who remembers the birth of the earth. Of course, she gave birth. She who holds a frightening arrow. She who makes a frightening sound. She who distinguishes the different frightening sounds. She who declares frightening sounds. All these tunkas, these frightening sounds. And she's doing that to put the fear of divinity into all the thoughts of negativity. The sounds are frightening to all the demons that are constantly perplexing us. For example, if we sing a mantra, the ego says, that's a frightening sound. That mantra spells the death of the ego. I don't want to listen to that. Stop. If you blow in the conch shell, that's a frightening sound. What self-respecting Ashura would like you to blow in the conch? That's got to be anathema to any self-respecting Ashura. Those sounds are all frightening to the thoughts of duality. Why? What's all this divine celebration going on here? Stop that. You should all go into be tolerating life just like the rest of the people. You should all have a bummer. Don't enjoy yourselves. You should be on a bad trip. You should all not like what you're doing. Listen to me, I'm the ego. If you don't like what you're doing, you're serving me. You're thinking of me. Who doesn't like it? I don't. And as soon as you think, I don't like it, what I'm doing, I'm tolerating life instead of enjoying life. I'm not on a good trip. Then you become a servant of the ego. You become a servant, a slave to self-deprecation and self-conceit. Everything you think about is me. It's all directed to me. That's why these sounds are so frightening. She whose chest cannot be pierced. She was the goddess who causes frightening sounds. She who makes the subtle sounds of the words of devotion. Ta-ta shabda. Now these are the subtle sounds of the words of devotion, not just the words themselves. We all talk about devotion, but these are the sounds that we hear inside. Our mouths are making many sounds, and some of them are even trying to sound like they're sounds of devotion. But what we hear inside is really the subtle sound of devotion. She who resides in scriptures, and that's why we read them, because every time we read the scripture, we read about her, and she resides inside them, and her bhavana just can't help from pouring out. She just becomes so filled with bliss when she hears her children are interested in learning about her. Say you fell in love with a very beautiful lady, and you decided you wanted to expand the courtship. So the first thing you're going to want to do is learn about her. Oh, where can I take you to dinner? What would you like to eat? What kind of wine shall I order with your meal? What kind of flowers should I bring you? Would you like a corsage, or would you like a brooch, or would you like something to wear on your wrist? What can I do to demonstrate to you the sincerity of my love for you? That's the first thing you're going to do when you meet that girl. What'd you do when you met that lady? Nothing. Sweetie, how long you guys been together? Excuse me. Back to she who resides in scriptures. So we want to study the scriptures because the scriptures give us an indication of what she likes. They tell us, hey, on Mondays you offer milk, and on Tuesdays you offer ghee, and on Wednesdays you offer a poop. It's not just what it sounds like. A poop is a cake. It's not. really a bunch of poop. And as we read the scriptures, we learn more and more about what it is that turns her on. And pretty soon, we've got a relationship going. Because she resides in the scripture, she gives us the knowledge, she gives us the inspiration, she tells us where to put the flowers, what mantra to use when you put the flowers there, and how would you greet her, how would you entertain her, how would you live your life as though you really loved her. And by practicing to live our life according to this plan, we actually fall in love with her. And she becomes the essence, the substance, the source, and the inspiration for our lives. So we start the day here and we end the day here, and everything we do is designed to keep us here a little longer and a little more efficiently. So she resides in the scriptures. Rasnenjio. Stay in the nectar. Stay in the amrit, in the nectar of pure devotion. She who is the subtle energy within. She who is the form of strength. She who cannot be vanquished. She who exists in the path of the Shakti Tantras. Remember, mantra, yantra, and tantra. These three reside together everywhere. Mantra, mantrayate, that which takes away your mind. It's an intuitive experience. Yantra is the intellectual explanation of what you gotta do in order to have that experience. And it's also a graphical representation of a roadmap to how to gain that experience, the yantra. Actually, it means tool. And tantra means physically, practically. How do you do it? How do you make the journey? How do you sit? How do you breathe? How do you hold the book? How do you hold your head up high? How do you fill your heart full of love? How do you breathe her inside and breathe her outside? And she who exists in the path of the Shakti Tantras, as we study the scripture, the Shakti Tantras, the the tools about Shakti, about this goddess who makes energy manifest. As we study about how do you make the energy manifest, in that path, she exists. And she takes us along. You take one step towards God, she'll take 10 steps towards you. And you take one step and learn a little bit, and she'll grab you by the arm and pull you right in. She who makes the sounds of the Damaru drum, Damaru, Nadini. You know the drum that goes... She who helps make the sound of ding ding in the worship of Shiva. She who is the action of delight which gives birth. I'm not going there. That could be many actions. She who is the mother of the ruler of all obstacles. She whose hands beat the drum. Sometimes she uses sticks. She who bestows 3 blessings. Where do you want them? You choose. You can have them above, in the middle, and below. You could have them on the earth, in the heavens, in the atmosphere. You could have them in the gross body, the subtle body, and the causal body. You could have them in all the 3s. They're your blessings. You choose. She who has eternal wisdom. She who is the manifestation of that which is beyond form. She is all the potential energy embodied in one form. And she makes that energy kinetic. So the potential energy is the energy which is beyond form. You can't see the energy in the battery. All you can see is the battery. But when you connect the wires, you can sure see the energy. So she is the manifestation of that which is beyond form. She who is beyond the three qualities, Sattva, Raja, Tamo, she is Nirgun. And remember also, Nir means water. So she is of the guna, the quality of water. And water has the quality. No, it always takes the form of its container. It adjusts, adapts to every container you pour it into. And it's always in equilibrium. No matter how you turn the pot, the water is always level. So, water, she is nirguna, she is of the quality of water, she is of the quality of the most pliable substance which assumes every form. She is the quality of that which is totally in balance and equilibrium in every situation. And she is beyond all qualities. She was the Narmada River, and that runs from Gujarat all the way across the central provinces. I'm dating myself. The central provinces became, that was the old name for central India, and it became from Gujarat to Madhya Pradesh and then into Andhra. She was the mother of the river. She who is the three gunas, and those are Sattva, Raja, Tama, Aim, Ring, Clean, Ma, Mahakali, Lakshmi, Ma, Saraswati, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. You choose. She who has three syllables, we just spoke a number of them. She was the synthesis. Remember, there's a thesis, an antithesis, and a synthesis. And she is the union, the merging of the harmony of all combinations. The synthesis. She is the holy basil. She's Tulsi. And that's remember so many stories about Tulsi. She who is ever young. She who takes us across the ocean of existence. She just takes us across. She's the Pati Maron Manom Manon Rutari Tarinim Durga Samsara Sagarasya Kulopapa. She takes us from the shores, from the banks, or the ocean, on this side, the ocean of ignorance and duality, to the wisdom in unity. And she crosses that entire ocean of existence. She who has the three worlds under her feet, she whose dominion extends beyond, she who illuminates like the rising sun, she who spreads her darkness. Now, it doesn't have to be the darkness of not knowing. It could be the darkness which illuminates the light, the darkness which makes our ego silent, the darkness which refuses to define individuality. Or it could be the darkness that we all are so familiar with. She who dwells upon the snow, she who has the highest wisdom, she who has the knowledge of the three times, past, present, future, she who sacrifices on three levels, she who has three eyes, she who has three energies, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati, she who lives in three cities, Tripura, and she's also called Tripura Sundari, the beautiful one of the three cities. And she's the three cities, of course, the gross body, the subtle body, all the threes. She who is most excellent. She who has the supreme face and body. She who has the large mouth of a fish. She who is very fast. She who travels in the three streams, and we call them Ganga, Jamuna, and Saraswati. She who illuminates darkness. So she's the darkness and she's the light in the darkness. She's the light which illuminates the darkness. She who knows the special mantras of Tantra. And believe me, in Tantra, every mantra is special. She who has a slender body, well, that eliminates some of us. She who is established in the three worlds. She who is the 3 times of prayer. She who dwells in 3 places. She who always remains contented. She who claps her hands rhythmically. She who has beautiful earrings. She who is brilliant like the snow mountains. She who resides in the snow mountains. She who unites the creation like a spider's web. And also with like a net that comes from the web. So we've got this net of unity, or this web of unity. She who loves the necklace of the stars. She wears that necklace. All the stars are just an ornament around her neck. She who loves to be offered sesame in the sacred fire. Our masala is made of rice and barley and sesame with milk, yogurt, sugar, and ghee. She who is the place of pilgrimage and honey. She who makes the flowers of the trees. She who is the illuminator. She who unites the 3. She who is in the subtle body of all. That's why the only way you can see her is to look within. But she's the subtle body of all. You gotta find her inside before you can find her outside. She who changed the one with 3 marks on his forehead, that's Shiva. He wears Tripundra. The 3 marks across his forehead stand for the unity of the 3s. Durga wears them too, but it's his forehead. She who raises those who are lowly, and that could mean they're lowly because they're in abject circumstances, or it could mean they're lowly because they're humble, and they humble themselves. So she raises the poor, she protects those who are humble. She whose every limb is beautiful like a flower. She who enjoys wearing earrings. She who has 3 locks of matted hair or braids. She who makes the special sound. She who is thirst. She who is the 3 forms of discipline. And of course we know that all discipline, all sadhana can be performed with sattva, with raja, or with tamaguna. Remember, tamaguna wants to use our spiritual discipline in order to gain powers to overcome our enemies. Rajaguna wants to perform spiritual discipline in order to gain something extra for ourselves. And Sattva-guna wants to perform spiritual discipline in order to purify ourselves and make ourselves more capable, more worthy of coming closer into your presence. So she is the 3 forms of discipline. She was always young. She who shines like melted gold. She who wears ornaments like melted gold. She who is the mother of the 3 worlds. She who is the ideal of the perfection, the resources necessary to maintain that ideal, and the ultimate desire. In fact, all of our little desires will merge into the one desire. She who gives the knowledge of the 3 times. She who makes offerings to ancestors. She who gives satisfaction. She who is satisfied. Who was it that said, I can't get no satisfaction? Obviously they hadn't studied the scripture. She who gives satisfaction, and she's satisfied. She who is dark, she who is sung of in psalms of special rhythms. And remember, our special rhythms in Sanskrit is Gayatri, Anushtup, Trishtup, Jagati, Brihati, and Pankti. Those are the 7 special rhythms, the special meters of Sanskrit. She who rides on Garuda, that's the golden eagle, Vishnu's Vahan, that carries Vishnu, so she, in the form of Mahalakshmi, she rides on Garuda. She who is beyond the 3 qualities, she who is bent in 3 places, she whose body is slender like a vine. Actually, she's like Lata. She who makes a special sound, she who makes an auspicious sound, she who is the goddess of auspiciousness, she who gives the nectar, she who nurtures the lowly, she who brings the end of duality. Now let's pause here and see if there are any questions.
Swamiji, Manjushri from Iran has a special message for you.
Manjushri, namaste. We pray that you are all blessed with safety and good health, and we send you every blessing, and we are watching you daily.
She says that it's nothing short of a miracle that suddenly I hear Swamiji's voice streaming in my laptop singing Ramakrishna Sharanam. Thank you for the class. Thank you for giving knowledge to all of us.
Manjushri, you please take every blessing, and thank you for being with us here, and tell all of our friends and family in Tehran that we send them our love and our joy, and we are with you 100%. Namaste.
Swamiji, question from Ambika from New Jersey.
Namaste, Ambika Ma. Namaste, Sham.
In name number 326,
yes, please.
She who befriends enemies. I understand we should befriend our enemies. I understand that we want to redirect our anger, but sometimes I find myself actually wishing I could get angry at someone as a way to express and release anger. Can you help me understand how to befriend an enemy and still be true to myself? Thank you.
Kill them with kindness. Ambika, when you got an enemy, just kill them with kindness. And go in a little extra step and give them something extra just because they cheated you. Just because they're inimical to you. Just make that a sadhana. And you use that as a way to go beyond. Now, if you really need to express your anger, sing. Sing a song. And sit down at your piano or your harpsichord or whatever you're teaching this month and play a rhapsody. Or play J-Mon. That's the most rhapsodist song that I know. Because I only play with one finger. And when you're feeling very low, just give Sham a hug for me. I think those are some of the things that you can do to express and let go and transform that anger. There's no need to tell the person with whom your enmity exists how angry you are. That will only add fuel to the fire. The object is not to be right. The object is to fill your heart full of love and resolve the circumstance and get it over with so you can go back to doing what you love to do. So remember your purpose, Ambika. Please remember your purpose. Keep your plan in front of you all the time. Every time you get mad at that enemy, say, gee, wait, it's not in my plan to be angry all day. My plan is something different. Let me find a resolution for the circumstance, get that person on their way so they can go on to their next step and I can go on to mine.
Swamiji, another question from Ambika. Are the subtle sounds of devotion the same as the subtle sounds of the celestial spheres?
They are, and they are even more, because remember when we put on the Matrika Nyas and we go Ong Namo, Ong Namo, Ing Namo, Ing Namo, Ong Namo, Ong Namo, Ring Namo, Ring Namo, Ring Namo, Ring Namo, Ing Namo, Ong Namo, Ong Namo, Ong Namo. We are putting the subtle sounds, the subtle vibrations all throughout our body. So not only are we invoking the entire universe to come within us, but we are wearing the subtle body of the universe as a garment. It's within us. We are the embodiment of the subtle sound, the subtle vibration of the universe. So when you do the Bhuta Shuddhi, it's not just the external world, but you've got all the elements of creation within you. You've got the vibrations of creation within you, Ambika. So yes, it's the cosmic body of existence, and it's all inside you.
Swamiji, question from Nanda from San Jose.
Namaste, Nandama.
Swamiji, I am led to believe the names in any Sahasranam do not have any special magic to them. But the fact that we spend the time and effort to chant the names with devotion and remember Goddess is what gives the benefit. It's our faith in the names rather than the names itself that helps us. Please correct my understanding. Thank you.
The name and the form are one. Every time you say the name, you think of the form, and each specific name evokes a specific attitude, a specific attribute, a specific quality that you want to inculcate in your life. And so the name and the form and the vibration and the feeling and the understanding are all part of the same sadhana. It's just that, not that the names don't mean anything. The names are, we're reading the meanings of the names. We're thinking about the meanings of the names and how do they apply to my circumstances as a little old or young boy on this earth manifested in a human body. What does this mean to my life? I'm spending the time, yes. And I'm spending the mind, yes. But I'm feeling the vibration and I'm thinking about the meaning, I'm thinking about the meter, I'm thinking about the rhyme and all of this vibration, the holistic spirituality combines into one harmonious spiritual experience. Don't dissect and say this part of the experience is not relevant to me. It's all relevant, it's all good. It all has purpose. The entire study, the entire practice, the asana, the pranayama, the mudra, the kriya, the Sanskrit, the meaning, the history, the philosophy, it all means something. The jyotish, the itihas, the sahitya, every aspect of it, don't try to segment or divide, compartmentalize. We're not looking into little cubby holes and saying, I'm not a student of history and therefore I don't want to listen to the story. I'm not a student of philosophy and therefore I don't need to think of all the philosophical implications of having such an understanding. I'm not a student of Sanskrit, so therefore I don't need to study the grammar. I am a student of Mother. And I want to know everything I can about her. Even if it means studying her language, studying her vibration, studying her tradition, studying her history, studying the etymology of and the evolution of this entire tradition. I want to study it all. The more I know, the more I'm empowered to be a good kid. That's my goal, to be one of Mom's good kids. Please?
Somebody name 320.
Yes.
Says Om Jambudvipa Vatyai Swaha.
Yes.
She who is the spirit of the island of creation.
Yes.
Are there other dvipas?
Yeah.
What is the spirit of Jambudvipa?
There are 8 dvipas. Ashtadvipa. Please look at the book number 8, the 8th skanda of Devi Bhagavata. And you'll read about the names and the qualities of the other dvipas. Now, the Jambudvip happens to be the island that we know where we are created. So we know this creation intimately. We can verify its existence empirically through sensory perception. We're exploring other dvipas and sending rocket ships up into space, trying to probe other dvipas. But right now we are experiencing this Jambudvip empirically. So this is our island of creation. Do you have any questions?
Swamiji, there's a question about the hidden dharma.
Yes, please.
Is it the same as your inner call, which you feel is right for you?
Good. That could be very, very, very fine. However, let's make sure that your call, your inner voice, is telling you something that's in harmony with what she's proclaiming or defining as dharma. For example, if your inner call is saying, I want to become the master thief. My dharma, my highest ideal of perfection, is become the best thief in all of Napa County. I would say your inner call is out of harmony with what she calls dharma. You better take a second look at what your objective is. Because that might be only your ego speaking and not your hidden dharma. It might be saying, hey, that it is really convenient for me to steal other people's property because it's such a pain in the neck to get educated and get a job and get money honestly. It'd be easier to injure someone else and take for my selfish interest. And I'm calling that my dharma. I don't know if she will agree. So when your inner call, your inner voice speaks to you, have some sounding board, have some tests, have some criteria by which you can discriminate, is this really my dharma? Or is this my selfish interest talking to me? And remember, we talked the other day about the 4 aspects of discrimination. Pal, bal, sta, and da. And pal means, am I protecting dharma? Am I reaching for the highest ideal of perfection that she will agree with? Bal, do I have the capacity? Do I have the strength? Do I have the resources? Do I have the yogata? Do I have the understanding? The knowledge necessary to further myself in the pursuit of that ideal? Sta, do I have the right time, place, and circumstance in order to perform that activity? Do you know, I just want to tell you a little story, just a short digression. When I first went off with my guru into the Himalayas, we were walking in the forest, and I was so excited. And I said, when can we stop? And I want to sit down, we'll start talking. I've got a billion questions. I brought an empty diary book, and I'm going to fill it up with all the answers that I get. And he said, wait, first you got to learn how to make a fire. I said, what do you mean make a fire? I come from California. You turn on a switch, you make a fire. What do I got to make a fire for? He said, all the mantras, all the philosophy, all the theories aren't going to keep you warm tonight. night, neither are they going to cook our food. So first, you need the time, place, and circumstances to be correct before we start talking about philosophy. And it turned out I didn't know how to make a fire. Sorry. I mean, I was a Boy Scout, but I still didn't learn how to make a fire. They didn't let us play with matches. But now, some years later, I've learned how. And you've got to have the stuff. You need the pulp, the bulb, and the stull, and the dull. Dull means you need the right association. If I took a bunch of kids to the Himalayas and wanted to talk about Dharma, it wouldn't be the right association. They just might not understand what I was talking about. Although we could put it in, we'll find a language to translate it into. However, you've got to know your audience. You've got to know your associates. Are they the right helpers to make us successful in this venture? Do we have the pole, the dharma, the ball, the capacity, the stall, the time, place, and circumstances, and the dull, the right association, the right team in order to perfect our objective? And these are the elements of discrimination, and this is the discrimination that we're seeking as we determine whether my desire is in harmony with hers. Can I look at those 4 criteria?
Ambika saying, thank you so much for your guidance on finding our hidden dharma. It's wonderful. How do we not let the need to make money get in the way of our passion? How do we build the strength to completely trust that we, and especially our family, will be taken care of?
Ambika, it's so easy. We have to work 3 jobs. I mean, just don't think you can do it just by 1 job. You have to have 3 jobs. 1 for the past, 1 for the present, and 1 for the future. Just sleep a little less. It's easy. Sacrifice 1 hour of sleep. You got to clean up the past, otherwise it'll keep pulling you back. You got to provide for the present, otherwise it'll be becoming part of your past. And it's going to come and get you. And still, you've got to provide for the future. We've got to cultivate that future. Each one of us is self-employed with a capital S. The self is our employer. And he demands that we provide for the past, present, and future. Trikal, the 3 times. So that will be the way we do it. We got to do something to cultivate the future. Can't say, I'm tired, I worked because of my past, and I worked and I paid all my bills in the present. That's not enough. In order to get ahead in a 24-hour day, you have to accomplish 25 hours worth of productivity. Then you have a gain. Whoever says I put in my 8 hours, they're always going to be behind. The only way to get ahead will be to produce and to accomplish 25 hours. Now that doesn't mean 25 hours at the same job. It means you've got 24-hour day. You got to spend 8 hours a day at your job. You've got to spend some hours that will take care of your past and your present. You've got to spend some time for your future. Whatever that aspiration wants to be. Whatever that hidden dharma is. Whatever that calling may be. Whether it be to pursue your dharma, or pursue your greater karma, or to find your own business, or your own financial independence, or your spiritual independence, in any way you define that goal. You got to invest the time. Otherwise, it's just a dream. one day. In Hindi, there's a great word, ho jayega. It means it will be, or it means mañana, or it means I sort of wish it would be, or it means a lot. Don't let your life run into ho jayega. Make it happen. Hone wala hai. It's going to be. I make my commitment, I make my sankalpa, I make my budget of time and resources, energy, attention. That's my commitment, sankalpa. The definition of my objective, my goal, my path. And now I'm empowered. Om Sam Saraswati Namaha. Namaste. Namaste. Are there any other questions?
Only one from Manjushri.
Oh, please. While Manjushri is with us.
Yeah, Manjushri is asking from Tehran, Iran.
Yes.
Swamiji, what can we do out here to retain our integrity in a crushing environment?
Manjushri, you are the epitome of the Divine Mother. You are the emblem of the Divine Mother. And you just carry yourself with the grace and give blessings and security and hope to everyone you meet. And you tell them all that God, in any form you understand Him, is with us. And we will prevail. The truth will prevail. And it will start a new revolution inside everyone's heart. The battle is inside. And if we can purify our hearts, we'll automatically get a government that we deserve. Not a government that dictates to us, but a government that listens to us and tries to guide us in the right direction. Oh, those are some of the things that you can do. And ask all your friends to make friends all around the world and keep us all apprised of what we can do to help you. We send you our love, we send you our blessings, we send you all the support we possibly can. And I'm going to meet you in India when we come in the fall. Namaste.